Hey guys! Welcome to our last Advent devotional for the 4 Sundays of Advent, and there's one more for Christmas Eve. So we're going to light our 4 candles that we've done, 3 up to this point and 1 more today. So can anyone tell me what the name of this first candle is? What was the first candle's name?
The peace rope.
Nope. Hope rope. It was the name of the candle was Hope, and the rope showed that we're holding on to our hope in Jesus with both hands, and all the people who believe in Jesus are all holding on together. All right, what was the name of the second candle? Paul, do you remember?
Peace pencil.
Peace pencil. That's right. And how does a pencil show us that we have peace? You remember? No? Okay, so a pencil shows us that we have peace because we are in God's hands, we're sharpened through the hard things in life, and we're ready for Him to write His story through us. And that's where true peace comes from. And last week, do you remember the name of this candle?
Love.
Love, that's right. How does a candle, and the actual object was the candle, and I gave you all candles, remember? Mm-hmm. How does a candle or a light, a fire, show us love? How does it show us God's love? It lights up our life, right? God's love lights up our life, and it brings us all together in a circle, right? Where we're all connected together. So God's love brings us into that. We want to be on the not on the inside pushing in to take God's place, and not on the outside in the dark. All right, I'm going to light one more. This one's name is Joy. Can you say joy?
Joy.
Joy. And that's the perfect one for right before Christmas. I'm going to read a verse, and it should be up on your screen. It's Psalm 16:11. It says, "You make known to me the path of life, and in your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." So, this is a prayer from a book called Psalms, and many of those were written by a king. Do you remember his name? Nope, his name was King David, and God chose him to be a king when he was just a boy, and sometimes he had a really hard life. Sometimes he was in danger, he had to fight battles, and he even had to run and hide. He also had a battle with the sin in his heart, and we know sometimes he lost that battle. But we do know as well, all his life he loved God, and he followed him and worshiped him. He learned what true joy was, and he teaches us in this verse. So, are you guys looking forward to Christmas presents?
Uh-huh.
Okay, you kids out there too, I bet you're excited about what you're going to get on Christmas. When you rip off that wrapping paper, what do you think is going to be inside?
Present.
Presents?
Present.
Toys? Something you really wanted?
Pillow.
A pillow? Yeah, but those presents aren't actually your joy. There's 2 words in English that sound very similar, but they're spelled different. So let me teach you them. Presents and presents. So presents means gifts, right? Your Christmas gifts.
Yeah.
And in our verse we have the word presents, which means to be together in one place. So our verse is teaching us that being in God's presence brings joy. So we know that we have a lot of joy that comes from our gifts, right? But what I want you guys to think about is that being together with God brings an even greater joy. So, your parents at home, I'm holding a present here, and you kids at home, your parents might be holding a gift too. I'm holding a present. Wow, I wonder what's in here. Something we can share together. But you all are in my presence because we're together. So, 2 different words that sound the same. So, something that may take you your whole life to learn, but I want you to start thinking about it now, is that true joy comes from loving God Himself, not just the gifts that He gives, because He gives really good gifts, and we want those gifts, but we want more and more and more to love God Himself, not just the gifts. And even us grown-ups, we're still learning that. It's hard, but you can start now. So name some of the gifts that God gives us.
A house.
A house.
The future.
The future. What else? What's something that God gives us?
Food.
Food. Yeah, that's a good one.
The world.
The world to live in. Yeah, we have all of these good gifts. When you grow up, you could get a job, or maybe a car, and a husband or wife, and have some children. Those are also God's good gifts. And remember, he gives us joy and hope and peace and love and all those things. All those things are gifts from God. But our greatest joy comes from knowing God himself, not just from the gifts he gives. And you know what? What happens when really hard things come into our life? When we get hurt, or there's pain, or somebody we love, something sad happens, we can even accept that as a gift because we're loving the giver, not just the gift. And it turns even our suffering into a gift because we get closer to God, and that's where the true joy comes from. So at Christmas time, sometimes we say that Jesus is the greatest gift, and here's why that's true. Our sin keeps us away from God's presence. We're like blocked from him. We can't get to him, and we're blocked from true joy. But Jesus came, he entered our world, and he lived as a human man a perfect life. We couldn't even do that. And then at the cross, he died and took our punishment and our sin and gave us his perfect life. He exchanged with us. So when God looks at us, he sees Jesus. And he is pleased with that. And we can enter God's presence. We can have full joy starting right now. Even when you're a child, you can have that full joy. And it goes on forever and ever and ever. So let's see what's inside this gift. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to open it up. Parents at home, you can open your gifts. Let's see what the gift, let's see what the present is. Wow, a jar full of special American candy. Okay, I'll give you one when we're done, okay? It smells good. Okay, when we're done. Okay, this is something we can all share together and we can enjoy. But I want you to think about this jar. This jar has a name. It's your joy jar. And it's a project for you to do with your family next year in 2021. I want you to put little notes in this jar about all the gifts or the presents that God gives you that show his presence, that you're together with him, the blessings from being in his family. Wouldn't it be amazing in next Christmas if this jar was so full of all those little notes? Your joy jar was just overflowing. And you know what? Your life can be like a joy jar. You can be full up to the top with stories about how God gives you good things, does his work through you, and then that joy of living in his presence just overflows. So, one more thing. Look at your hands and feet. Wiggle them. Move your body a little bit, carefully, because of the candles. Your body is a gift. Your energy is a gift. Your minds and your talents are a gift. All the things you love to do. Now take a deep breath. Go. That was another gift from God. Is he just giving you gifts all the time, over and over and over? I want you to enjoy the gifts, but remember to love the giver. Give your love to God. This is true worship, and this is where real joy comes. Our candle called Joy reminds us. The joy that God gives from being with him in his presence never fades, and it grows better and better and better your whole life until someday we're in God's presence forever, and we can actually see him face to face. And that's when the joy will be the most full. So, Merry Christmas, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Remember true joy.
Bye.